There was only a few days left until my sister and family arrived at the chateau, and there weren't enough beds or bedrooms cleared for them to stay. Added to that were the rotten stairs that weren't practical to use, the urgency of finding windows of dry weather to get up on the barn roof for repairs. Oh, and one of the shower rooms didn't yet have a functioning basin. We had our work cut out to be ready in time. If I could just get one of the rotten stairs repaired and in place, with a little caution the stairs could be usable. However, the woodworm and rot had gone too far. This piece had more holes in it than a politician's promise and had to be cut off. I was very lucky to find some wood in the barn that was the same thickness as the riser and would do nicely. I'll ultimately have to stain it to match the rest of the stairs, but for now I'll just be happy to get it fitted in time. I needed to leave the glue to dry for 24 hours before trying to fit it back in. Ultimately though, I didn't get a chance to fit it until after my sister arrived. Oopsie. The morning after the night before. Bunty's teddy bear picnic. Looks like they were on the yogurt.
The top floor landing was full of stuff, and that's because we were emptying this bedroom. It's one of the smaller bedrooms, and it was full to bursting with artificial flowers and about a dozen large boxes of very old, very dusty, dried flowers. With Rory's sister's family coming in a few days, we needed several bedrooms to be ready, and this was one of them. At least we had a spare bed in bits, ready for Rory to put together. But first we had to clear the room so I could give it a good clean. We largely left the cupboards as they were, along with their Christmas decorations, including these wrapped gifts, which we'd recently discovered weren't all empty, but actually contained Christmas-themed mugs and plates. There's a surprise every day at Chateau De Pican. This isn't even a quarter of what had come out of the room thus far. When the room's nearly empty, Rory built the bed, making it look like a bedroom for the first time in many years. It's a very bright room, thanks to its glowing colours and the lovely window. Possibly rather like sleeping inside a giant tangerine. But with some quieter bedding to go with the grey fireplace, sunglasses are no longer needed. The decor is not in its final form by any means, and had a chair and bedside table hastily found, dusted and put in place at the last minute. We also have plans for an ensuite shower room behind the bed. However, it looks so much better now without the headache-inducing plastic flowers and with the spiders relocated to a luxurious rehoming centre complete with tiny hammocks. The window has a fantastic view of the hillside and the roof terrace.
This morning I came out to feed the horses and I noticed this. I believe it was completely dead already, but this tree has come down. It's right by the lake, and mercifully it's fallen away from the lake, because if it had fallen in the lake that would have made clearing it up an awful lot harder.
I guess it must have been quite rotten through, but we had no idea it was about to fall. We haven't had high winds, at least not last night. Woke up this morning and there's a tree in the garden.
And it's quite large.
It is quite large. Rory says his chainsaw won't go through the thickest branches, so...
I concur, Rory's chainsaw won't go through the thickest branches. And there you can see the dead branches resting against the pigeonnier, but haven't destroyed it. I think it was completely dead, so it would have had to come down anyway. And it was actually blocking quite a lot of light through the day from the magnolia tree that we uncovered. There's always something. Welcome to Jane's Find of the Day with Jane.
Hello and welcome to this week's Find of the Day at Chateau De Pican. Today I'm going to be talking about this lamp. As you can see, it's in the shape of a horse. The horse is standing next to a tree, and I would have described this as a bronze horse, a bronze statue of a horse standing next to a tree. And what I really like about it is that it's a very handsome horse. He's a fine specimen, and he isn't standing on a plinth. He's just standing almost quite naturally next to this tree. And if you love horses as much as I do, you want your horse to look real. So this is perfect. He's not going to fall over because he is actually stuck to the tree, but he looks as though he might just be standing by the tree, and he's free to stand there. He hasn't been glued to anything. I'm not going to talk about the lampshade this week because we've got another one very similar, and it's a bit of a puzzler for me to understand the lampshade, so I won't talk about that. But I noticed that the statue has a couple of scratches on it, and I also noticed that the scratches are a bit of a silver colour, and I thought, is that what I would expect from bronze? So I know nothing about bronze statues. I looked it up, and I don't think it is bronze. I think it's made of a substance, an alloy called spelter. And if anyone knows anything about statues, clearly I didn't, that will be familiar to you. I'd never heard that word before. So spelter is an alloy of zinc and lead, whereas bronze is an alloy of copper and tin, apparently. And apparently bronze makes a ringing sound, and that's not a ringing sound. So I don't think this is bronze after all. And apparently spelter originated in China and East India and was first imported into Europe as early as the 16th century, but really took off in the 19th century. And then following the First World War, when an awful lot of bronze was used for munitions, there wasn't very much copper available. So spelter was used very commonly to make Art Deco statues and decorative items. So it's a well-known material, and there are apparently still some valuable items made of spelter, not of bronze. However, it does limit its value a little bit, but I think it is very beautiful. It's a very natural depiction of a horse. He's a handsome beast, and he's lovely.
This latest project is a double basin that we're making from, I guess it was some sort of wash table perhaps. A very old piece, and there's a marble back to it, which I will show you. Hang on. Let me just pull an old screw out. This fits like that. And then there's a shelf that runs across the top. And I had a bit of a disaster yesterday. I was trying to move this into position so I could start working on it, and it sort of all fell backwards, half collapsed, and the shelf snapped. So I'm really quite annoyed about that, but everything is eminently repairable. So I've got to come up with a way to repair the shelf, and I've got an idea. I won't bore you with it now. And let me put this back down so it doesn't break. And I've already cut a hole in each side for the wastewater to go through. So now I've got to cut 2 holes exactly in the right place for the taps. Here's one I prepared earlier. So the taps are going to go roughly somewhere there, I think, and that should be delightful. Jane found this unit online, and we had to drive about half an hour, 40 minutes to collect it. But it was very cheap and it's lovely. This grey marble is really attractive and we think it's going to go really well in the bathroom it's going in. She bought these 2 bowls separately and I think they're delightful. They're really, really pretty. So when the front unit is painted up, I'm not sure if she's picked a colour yet, but it's going to be painted and then it'll go into a little nook in the bathroom it's going in, and I think it's going to look very, very lovely. I have this nifty little tool which is a guide which you can stick to your marble work surface like that and adjust its size to fit your hole saw and tighten it up, and then you can't wobble, you can't scratch the surface of the marble accidentally, which is a brilliant tool. However, these side walls are too close to where I need to cut my hole, so I might see if I can take these off and then I'll be able to get access to drill my accurate holes. Oop. Works. Between you and me, roughly getting it right should do in this case. I've got some squirty water because we want to keep this cool and moist when it is cutting through. As you can see, it's holding it really nicely in place. It's not moved at all. And this is quite an inexpensive thing I found on the internet. Still not quite through, but I can take this off now because I'm almost through. And now we're through. The second hole was much more difficult to drill as the inexpensive hole saw I was using began to wear out. Still, we got the job done. Because I was creating a 2-basin unit, I needed to remove the existing drawer. The plan is to fix the drawer front permanently in place. Disaster. Oh, I'm talking quietly because I haven't told Jane yet. I accidentally knocked the marble bowl and that chip's come out. Gutted. So, no, wrong way around. Here's Bunty. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. So I'm going to glue that back on with super glue, and then I will seal around it with some epoxy putty that will hopefully be a similar colour to the cracks, so it won't be terribly noticeable, and then hopefully that will be fixed. I'm having trouble working at the minute. I've been catted. He came to inspect my work and he stayed. I'm meant to be finishing off the basin, Percy. I've mocked it up. Oh, you want to be in the shop, do you? The moment that perhaps none of you have been waiting for.
So in terms of what this lamp stand might be worth, well, I really struggled to find one similar. I looked for initially bronze statue, horse, lamp, horse by a tree, lamp, bronze, etc., etc. They all had plinths, and I started to think, oh, maybe this one's quite special. Then I found out probably it's made of spelter, and I did a search for that horse tree spelter lamp. And although the majority of them are again standing on plinths, there was one with 2 horses standing by a tree with no plinth, quite reminiscent of this, very beautiful. And it was sold at auction in 2019 for £45. So if this is the same sort of thing, and that's the closest I've found, it's not very valuable, but it doesn't make it any less beautiful to me, and quite rare, at least in terms of what I didn't manage to find many that were like that. Super tactile, super beautiful. No one's going to steal it. It's only worth £45, but I get to have it, so it's lovely.
It is 2:45 and I've done almost no work today because we had to take the dogs for their vet's appointment this morning, which was just booster jabs, they're fine. And then we had to do a load of shopping. We spent a small fortune buying shopping for this week because my sister and family are arriving this evening. It is now heading for 3 o'clock rapidly. I've got some floor tiles to put down in the bathroom before this can go in. This isn't fully finished and ready. This hasn't been painted. This hasn't been taken off and cleaned. There's a lot to do, and that's just in this room where one of them will be staying. We haven't finished the other bedroom, which had all the dried flowers in it, all the plastic flowers. That's been worked on. The creaky bedroom, which is below this one, that is full of mess and hasn't been made. And the stairs. I haven't fixed the stairs. And so people might have to go through a bedroom whilst I haven't read the stairs. Oh, there's so much to do in that coming. Ooh. Okay, it's an hour later and the last bit of tiling is done. So now I've got to wait until the adhesive goes off a little bit so the tiles stop moving, and then I can put the basin unit in position and start to fix the plumbing in place. God. Haunted by the workload, there was nothing to do but get on with it. As soon as the unit was sanded down, Jane needed to get a coat of paint on it. Whilst I was sanding, I noticed one of the legs was loose and needed to be glued before I could fit the basin. One of them will be sleeping in this room, and the plane is in the air. It'll be landing in about an hour. It's 9 o'clock. I've almost finished the plumbing. 2 more pipes to go. And that's the plumbing done and the basin's in. And I think my work might be over. There may still be a couple of beds to make. Oh, this is exhausting. We were still working when they arrived, but thankfully the beds and basins were ready. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to see more.